In Australia, you had one mass shooting 50 years ago, and they said, "Oh, we're not doing that anymore." That is normally how you would expect a society to respond when your children are at risk.
Obama wants Australia-style gun control. And look what that did for Australia. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms, your NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. And if you like the channel, like my content, and like what I'm doing here, you can support me with the link in the description box. Everything is appreciated. But let's talk about this. Came across this video several days ago, but unfortunately we had some developments here in Connecticut that I had to talk about first. So this has kind of been on the back burner, but now I have the opportunity to talk about it. This is former President Obama went on CBS Morning and talked about a number of different things, but then talked about gun control. You heard a little bit in the beginning there where he was pretty much advocating for Australia-style gun control, where nobody has a right to a gun. And you got to get down on your knees and bless those men who formed this nation, because realize when they put the Second Amendment into the Constitution, they hadn't just come from a hunting trip. They had just liberated a nation from tyranny, literally. But he said a lot, and I have a lot to say. So let's go ahead and let's jump in and listen to what he has to say about it.
We are unique among advanced, developed nations.
Yes, we are unique. We have more freedom than a number of those nations. We are almost individually autonomous, where we can make decisions for ourselves, and that's a good thing.
In tolerating, on a routine basis, gun violence in the form of shootings, mass shootings, suicides,
Well, here's the problem there, Barack. First of all, we don't hold our criminal element accountable for what they do. Matter of fact, we tend to slap them on the wrist and send them right back out into society. Then, when the shooter is of a marginalized group, all of a sudden, they become the victim and not the perpetrator. Our justice system is upside down in the way it handles things, because now we're being told that it's racist that when the shooter is a person of color, to put them in jail. So maybe we need to start at the ground level with how the justice system, how they handle these people from the minute they commit the crime to the time that they get to court and the outcome. If we started there, we'd see a lot of these problems start to go away. As far as suicide is concerned, a gun ban is not going to stop somebody from committing suicide. And that's the sad truth. Somebody's determined to do it, they're going to do it. So this isn't about guns, but
in Australia, you had one mass shooting 50 years ago, and they said, "Oh, we're not doing that anymore." That is
okay. But what is crime like in Australia? Crime continues. Crime, in some regards, has escalated in certain aspects. Gun crime, obviously, if you don't have any guns, you can't commit gun crime. But it doesn't mean that violence all of a sudden magically stopped. Okay, that's a disingenuous approach to a real problem, a global problem.
Normally how you would expect a society to respond when your children are at risk.
Why is it so hard for us?
Well, I think somehow, and there are a lot of historical reasons for this.
Yes, because we had great men who foresaw what was coming. That's why when they wrote the Second Amendment, they made it clear. They said they used the word arms, and the phrase shall not be infringed. Now, to say that they couldn't comprehend technology moving forward is absolutely asinine. These were the great thinkers of the time. Benjamin Franklin, just to name one. How are you going to sit there and say, well, because technology is now moving forward, the Constitution no longer applies? It's nonsense. absolute nonsense. They foresaw all this coming. And to say that they couldn't have comprehended this idea of the mass shootings is once again, nonsense. In the 1700s, there was a colony that was completely eradicated in a mass shooting. I believe it was a French colony, and they were literally, everybody was killed by men with firearms. So to say that they couldn't have comprehended the idea of the mass shooting is once again nonsense, because these things were going on prior to the writing of the Bill of Rights.
Gun ownership in this country became an ideological issue and a partisan issue in ways that it shouldn't be.
And the reason why is because the Democrats made it so. The Democrats exploited specific tragedies and used emotional fodder to push for things that have nothing to do with the actual crime and the underlying problem of violence. That's why it has now become a partisan ideological issue. It's because the Democrats have put us here. The left has put us here.
It has become sort of a proxy for arguments about our culture wars. Instead of thinking about it in a very pragmatic way, we end up really arguing about identity and emotion and all kinds of stuff that does not have to do with keeping our children safe.
And I will agree with you there. Emotion has nothing to do with keeping our children safe, yet all of these laws since the Sandy Hook incident have been passed on emotion. Not logic, not reality, but on emotion. Once again, the left is responsible for this. They continue to, once again, every time you see us, like Connecticut's a good example, when they bring up their gun control bills, what do? They talk about some mass shooting that didn't happen elsewhere. The Democrats are 100% responsible for this. And nothing has changed. Violence is escalating. And I'm gonna bring you back to biblical truth. What did God say? If you abandon me, I will abandon you, paraphrasing, and leave you to your devices. I will leave you to your devices. If this is what you want, and here you go. We are an immoral country, and we are reaping what we sow. Plain and simple.
Even in the absence of action at the federal level.
And right away, here's this little thing here. Suggested that if America's gun laws were as strict as Australia's, there'd be no more mass shootings. Of course, there won't be any mass shootings. There won't be mass shootings. But there won't be a complete void of violence, which is what we're all trying to stop. And gun control has nothing to do with it. All right. Let's go ahead and come out of that. Well, you heard what he had to say. And he's been at the forefront of pushing for gun control. Not for himself. Not, the elites don't want gun control for them. They want it for us. That's just how it's always been, because every law they pass, they exempt themselves from it. Whether it be through private security or the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars we spend in taxpayer money on security for them. But he's just trying to very politely say the quiet part out loud. They want a complete gun ban. They want disarmament, just like Australia. And if you ever go back and visit the videos of Australia during COVID and how draconian these people were into the citizenry, at the end, as I put in another video, gun control just leads to tyranny. We have been free as long as we have been because we are in a position to fight back. And gun control is meant to lessen that. I always say, look at the way they treat us now, and we're armed. Think about how they would treat us if we weren't. Let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified the next time a video goes live. I will see you on the next one. Peace.